its legends. And in Willow Creek, it's the house on Hollow Hill. It's said to appear only once a year, on Halloween night. Locals avoid the hill, but there's always that one brave soul who thinks they'll uncover the truth. Last year, that soul was Max, a skeptical college student visiting his grandmother in Willow Creek. He'd heard the legend from locals but didn't believe it. Convinced it was just a rundown shack hidden by fog, Max set off on Halloween night, flashlight in hand, to prove everyone wrong. At midnight, he arrived at the hilltop, panting from the climb. As he caught his breath, he scanned the area, but there was no house, just empty land covered in thick fog. He laughed, shaking his head, but as he turned to leave, a chill gripped him. The air thickened, and unease washed over him, and then he saw it. The house appeared, as if the fog had woven itself into walls, a roof, and broken windows. A massive Victorian mansion, covered in ivy and rot, with crooked shutters and a dark, twisted front door that seemed to lean forward, inviting him in. Against every instinct, Max walked closer. He told himself it was just an abandoned building, but each step felt heavier. When he reached the porch, he hesitated. The door stood ajar, creaking in the wind. Max took a deep breath, pushed it open, and stepped inside. The air was stale, thick with mold. His flashlight flickered, casting strange shadows on the peeling wallpaper and cracked floors. Dust coated every surface, but it didn't look empty for long. Faint footsteps in the dust led down the hall. Max followed the footprints, each step echoing in the eerie silence. At the end of the hallway, he found a large, ornate mirror. His own reflection stared back, but something felt wrong. He looked closer, squinting into the mirror, and his reflection blinked. Max stumbled backward, heart pounding. He convinced himself it was just a trick of the light. But then his reflection smiled, a slow, sinister smile that he wasn't making. He wanted to run, but his legs felt rooted to the spot. The mirror fogged over, as though something was breathing behind it. Slowly, a dark figure emerged from the haze, standing behind his reflection. Hollow eyes stared at him, and its mouth stretched into a wide, unnatural grin. The figure raised its hand, pressing it against the mirror, and Max felt a cold hand on his shoulder. Panicking, he stumbled back down the hall, slamming the door behind him. He didn't look back, running until he reached the edge of town. When he tried to tell others what he'd seen, no one believed him. The house on Hollow Hill, they'd laugh. Everyone knows that place doesn't exist. Max wanted to prove it, to bring people back up the hill, but the next day, there was nothing there, just an empty field overgrown with weeds. Every Halloween, Max waits in Willow Creek, hoping someone else will take his place as the